Cancer placements, how do you do, Cancer? Let's do you a reading. Cancer. Cancer. Ace of Pentacles. Oh. Wow. We have the High Priestess, the Hierophant, the Wheel of Fortune. Baby. Oh my God. Is this a connection with someone? Yes. Oh, yes. Oh my God. You have someone here that is truly aligned with your soul. I want to say soul tribe, but this can be romantic as well. You know, soul tribe can also mean soulmate or a friend, or like soulmate can mean a friend, a family member, but you have someone here that is truly your counterpart. This can be a twin flame connection, and it's telling you that it's time to explore this twin flame. I have like a good feeling about this, and it's, I mean, it makes sense because the Wheel of Fortune is upright, so the time is right here. It feels like the right time. You are given the opportunity to be with someone that is in contract with you, someone here that you have been contracted to meet at this time before you were born. Before you were born. If you work with this person, and I'm not sure if it's work as in workplace or work as in like put in the work together. If you work with this person and I want to say manifest. If you work with this person and manifest or put your ideas together, it will be like a powerhouse, a power couple. Tell me more about this. You could be overthinking what this means. Okay, so let's clarify it. Let's see how we can help here. How can we help Cancer with this? You could be confused about what this means. The intensity of this connection could confuse you. The Death card. Is Cancer not with this person currently? Are they separated? Okay, so this is someone that you're not with, but you're meant to be with. You have a telepathic connection with this person. You are together energetically, but not together in the physical. And time is at play here. Why are they not together? Why are they not together? What is in the way? There is ego here. So you know who this person is, but you're not together with them. Maybe you met this person, maybe you had like a small period of time where you were together with them. But there is separation. There are things in the way here that prevented the both of you to really unite to your true potential. Or to reach your potential, reach the potential of the connection. It's not over, is what I'm hearing. It's not over. It's not over. There is true love here, baby. There's true love. Unconditional love. Just because you're not together doesn't mean that you don't love each other. Just because you're not together doesn't mean that you don't love each other. Someone needs to hear this. And since it's a Cancer reading, I guess it's you, Cancer. Maybe it's a cross-watcher as well. Just because you're not together doesn't mean that you don't love each other. There is ego here. There is ego. Someone here is not truly in their highest form. What I mean by that, there is ego that dictates how this person behaves. Maybe it's the both of you, but it could be one of you. Okay, I'm just going to say one of you. One of you here is controlled by the ego more than their higher self. The higher self is free from the ego. The higher self knows what's best for the person. But when ego has a hold on a person, it means that this person is controlled by fear or by hurt or by a belief system that isn't truly this person's belief system. Like an external force, let's say. So sometimes ego shapes concepts for us that are created by others, like societal norms or what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And that, makes the ego in control of the person instead of doing what's best for them. You know what I mean? So the ego is good, but if it's in control, it's not good. The ego should be disciplined. The ego should be something that lets you know what, is acceptable and unacceptable, but you still act based on what you believe is good for you. Meaning, it shouldn't control your behavior. When it controls your behavior, that's when it's a problem. Okay, so but the love is dominant here. The love is dominant. It's not going to change the fact that you two are meant for each other. So what's going to happen here? Let's see. What's going to happen for these two? What's going to happen here? You have to let go of the ego, baby. Ego needs to go. Ego needs to go. That rhymes. Ego needs to go. You need to have faith that that whatever that resonates within you, in your soul, has to be the priority. The Fool it can be like an energy of let go and let it be. Like whatever it is, it should come out. It should be embraced. The ego is not worried about falling. The ego is not worried about the cliff. The ego is not worried. Did I say ego? The ego is really strong here. The fool is someone that is almost like the opposite of the ego, because the fool doesn't have fear. The fool here is like about to step off the cliff, but if the ego is in control, it will tell you, look out, you're about to fall. So the ego in someone's energy is really strong. And that is the solution to your problem. Discipline the ego. The ego is in the way. The ego is in the way. The ego is in control, and that has to change. I mentioned briefly earlier that if you do not have ego in control, it controls you, okay? In the same way where people say, if you don't control your mind, the mind controls you. And what they mean by mind is essentially, or initially, the ego, okay? The ego is created by the brain. It's in a way to protect you, but it's also to protect itself from you. So it creates fears and barriers, and that holds you back from becoming your better version, because it stops you from taking risks. It stops you from believing. It relies on logic too much or on emotions too much. You know, there needs to be a balance. And so if you want things to be balanced in your energy, there needs to be healing and disciplining of the ego. Whoa! The Justice card wants to come out. Whoa. You must go through this. You must go through this. With the Justice card here, you must go through this. And it's not going to change your life by coincidence or by another external force. This has to be you deciding that you must create balance, because the Justice card has like a scale. Do you see that? This scale needs to be accomplished by you, which is balancing how much the ego has control over you, or balancing between the head and the heart. Because if you don't, it's not going to change anything when it comes to this connection. And I feel like I'm talking to the right person, because I keep saying you, Cancer. If this is not you, I feel like there is a cross-watcher watching. So whoever that is watching, I feel like this is something that has control over you, which is the ego. You are either thinking too much or feeling too much, and there needs to be a balance in order for this connection to reach its potential. There is the risk element that wants to be mentioned, meaning that a life without risks is not a life. If you are too comfortable in your comfort zone, no growth, no change will happen. So, you want change? Get ready to not feel comfortable. The ego wants to keep you comfortable in order to protect itself. Imagine the ego as a different entity, or as an entity of its own. The brain will protect itself before it protects you. This is why people get knocked out. And it's an interesting topic, because the reason why people get knocked out is because the brain shuts down before further damage is done to it. So when the body suffers, it doesn't care if you are hurt, doesn't care if it's not in your favor. The brain will shut down and you will get knocked out, meaning that you will just drop, because the brain is trying to protect itself from further damage. Even though the brain is not feeling the damage, the body is. You see what I mean? So the brain will try to protect itself from you as a body, as an entity, as a physical being. So the brain is like an organ of its own. You have to control it, otherwise the soul that is within you is going to be controlled by a brain. And we don't want that, because the soul should be the dominant kind of energy that controls the body and the brain. So you have to discipline the brain. And in that, you discipline the ego. Okay? Let's see what we are going to take in the extended. I need water. Been talking for hours. Let's see what we are taking to the extended for Cancer. Justice wants to come out again. Let's see. What is this about? Most of the things that we already talked about are things that you know about, Cancer. But the implementation is the word? Implementation of what you know is truly the vital part. Meaning, you can read all the books that you want, but if you don't put these learnings into action or implement what you learn from those books, and I'm saying books as an example, then it's a waste of your time. So for example, you read 10 books on how to become a better person, let's say, for example, but you don't implement any of the change or any of the advice that you read. So it's a waste of your time. You didn't learn anything. You can read all you want, but you didn't learn anything. See what I mean? Learning is by implementing. When you create change is when you actually learn something. Otherwise, you need to read those books again. See what I mean? So in a way, this is telling you that most of the things that we talked about are things that you already know. But you don't really implement what you know into your life. It's just like knowledge for you. Implement those changes. Okay, let's see, because we have 2 cards here. Yeah, implement those changes. If this same energy wants to be talked about even more. And it's like, you already know this. How many times am I going to have to tell you? And I feel like someone is saying that this, I feel like someone is saying this through me. How many times am I going, how many times am I going, how many times what? How many times am I going to have to say this to you? Someone here is frustrated with you, and I feel like it's a spirit guide. I feel like it's a spirit guide that's watching you do dumb shit, or watching you kind of waste your life, I want to say. And I don't mean your life in general, but your energy right now, that you're wasting your potential. You have everything that you need to know in order to make changes. What is stopping you from making these changes? We talked about the ego, but what else? Because I feel like you're being stubborn about something specifically because of something. Why? Fear is fucking crippled you. Fear has crippled you. Cancer. Fear of the unknown, fear of what could happen if you do change, fear of losing what you have already accumulated, fear of losing what you've already built somewhere or something. Fear. We'll talk about this fear in the extended, okay? Because I see that it's not just the ego. There are other things. Maybe maybe the ego is the main thing, but we need to go in depth of what kind of fear is holding you back from reaching your potential, or reaching your potential to be with someone that is aligned, or that is on the same wavelength as you are. Because there's something not right here, and I keep feeling it but going around it, and it's like it wants to be talked about in depth. So we'll do that in the extended. The link will be in the description box. I will see you there.